My life, my behavior, and where I go is always determined by my gender identity. So much so that sexual harassment, sexual violence, sexism are all normalized everywhere around us. Sexual abuse, no matter how intense or not it is, has huge ramifications. It scars us for life. Oftentimes, a survivor of any form of violence lives on with that sad story forever and ever. It can be all forms of ramification. For me personally, it comes in play in my everyday life. For instance, if I were to get ready and go for a job interview, and if I were to compare that with the way a man would get ready and go for the interview, all he needs to do is prepare himself for the role, think about the interview, and just go and perform. What I need to do is I'll be lucky if I had time to prepare for the interview. I have a whole lot of chores and work to do, and then I have to worry about what I'm dressing, what am I wearing, what time of day is it, how am I showing up at the interview. And all of this has historically been normalized. I can even go back to my time at school, where on the way to school would be such a big daunting task. I would need to worry about where I hold my bag, how I'm sitting in the bus, is someone coming too close. I would just be clinging onto my bag, slouching so that no one comes and touches and harms me, that then lasts in my life forever. In fact, I dropped out of college because there was a separate staircase for boys and girls. So you see how the education system perpetuates patriarchy, perpetuates power, separates people who otherwise are all meant to be together, occupy spaces together, and actually co-create and nourish together. Somewhere when I did a little bit of research, I realized that in India, our education system does not talk about issues of gender. In fact, sex, gender are all misinterpreted, compartmentalized, and not easily discussed. Students are very conscious about being boys and girls and how they have to engage with each other, when actually co-creation and coexistence is compulsory. So breaking patterns and stereotypes has perhaps been the only pattern that I wanted to follow. I wanted to break this pattern of gender-based violence and sexism that people face historically in life. At Durga, what we're trying to do is actually say that people are people and human rights are at the center of everything. We work with everyone in Durga. We are trying to create gender-just public spaces. And when I say public spaces, they may be public spaces for certain groups of people, but they're also workspaces for women and men in the informal sector. We work with women to essentially encourage them to understand and build their thinking around sexualization, commodification, sexual violence, access to law. So we really go deep to ensure that women feel that they are equal citizens to the constitution of this country and that they should go and claim it. On the other hand, we work with men. And it's interesting to see how we work with men, not to tell men that you know what, all the problems because of you, but to say, you know what, you come with privilege, you come with historic entitlement, and you and I can work together. If you take a couple of steps back and I can take a few steps forward, then perhaps we can work on things together because we must coexist. Fundamentally, I think working with men and working with women is important, but it's also very important to ensure that the system is held accountable. So how can policies, while they exist, and we know there are n number of policies, particularly from 2013, post-Nirbhaya, but why does anyone as an individual or a citizen not know about it? So how can I access them? How can I build awareness towards them? So it's systems' role to build that. Beyond that, there's a lot of others in any space wherever there's sexual violence or any form of crime. So the core of what we do in Durga is to activate bystander behavior. And we believe that every one of us can be an active bystander to step in and deter crime. Our core message is we're all in this together. You and I and all of us together should be held responsible and be accountable for any form of crime and be there together.